Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and that you hopefully have enjoyed the presentations that I have been putting together for you all with regards to the MSB and DCS DAX. I've had a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, lots of different questions about the presentations, and it was well received. To be honest with you, I was very shocked at the amount of traction that those videos gathered, which gives me a lot to think about in regards to future shootouts. I think a lot of you guys are interested in hearing different DACs, different sources, specifically digital sources, and that's something that I may embark on in the future. I might very well bring different DACs from different price points. Really do not know yet, guys. It's just a thought right now. Okay. Primarily, I have been doing amplification, different preamplifiers. Lately, a lot of different speakers. But sources might be something that I could potentially be interested in doing in the future. Okay. But give me some time with that. It takes me quite some time to really do my own research, actually, and homework in order to find out what is really of interest to me, and what could be something that you guys might really, really be interested in seeing and comparing against the DCS and the MSB that I have here in my room. Anyway, with that said, please subscribe, hit the like button. You know the deal. So that we can continue to do this with me, and I hope you guys want to continue to stay informed with new content that I am thinking about. But today's video is specifically dedicated to those of you who are perhaps, I wouldn't say newbies, but you guys want to have a reference point in regards to how to go about building a system. How do you begin? What are the steps? I have looked around on YouTube as far as different types of content that tackle these questions, and I don't think I've found per se a video that goes over these particulars, the actual steps that I think you guys should take when thinking about building a system. Okay, and it is very important that you guys have an outline, if you will, of what you guys are going to be doing as you begin to hopefully build that system that may take you to audio nirvana and hopefully providing you with years of enjoyment. These are things that I have learned throughout my journey. I want to say that I'm sharing with you what I think nobody told me, nobody shared with me, nobody really came and advised me, which is fine. It could have been my own fault, but I am here giving you guys feedback as far as what I think you should be doing and how to go about building your next system. Okay, so let's get started. First and foremost, I think the most important thing with any system is the room. The room, guys, is going to dictate. It's the biggest factor in my opinion. Okay, I believe that when I started this journey many years ago, and I was working on building a system for me in different living rooms, different places where I lived before, I never really knew any better as far as how bad my system sounded, because to me, since I was just getting started, I thought it was a great sounding system. I thought it sounded amazing without any room treatment, a room that had a lot of echo, a room that had a lot of different difficulties, furniture, coffee tables, you name it. But to me, it sounded great, right? I was very proud to showcase my system back in the day. But now that I'm at a different level with a dedicated room, now I'm able to look back and say, wow, how wrong I was for thinking that. And I can tell you that the room, guys, is going to be the biggest impact for your system. In my opinion, if you are looking to build a system on audio, a 2-channel system, might be applicable for home theater as well. But I think for 2 channels, since this is a channel with undivided attention for 2-channel enthusiasts, okay, I'm going to tell you that the room, to me, was a revelation. So if you're looking to build a system, the most important thing, I'm going to repeat it, is the room. Please, if you live in a home right now, and let's say you are growing your family and you're going to be moving into a different area, a different house, I'm sorry to be so selfish, but I'm not moving into a house where I can't locate a space that seems to fit my needs for my audio. If I don't have a room in the house that I'm thinking about buying or renting, I'm moving on. I was very candid about this with my wife. When I was looking for a home, I thought I need to have the space because I need space for my speakers. I need space for my stereo, for my system. And if all I have are rooms that are too small, let's look elsewhere. And so the deciding factor for me was having the space in the house to do what I have been doing. So yes, your spouses, your partners, your significant others might be a little upset because maybe they like the property you selected. I mean, they may not like the property that you selected, but you know that you have an agenda, which is to build an ultimate room that hopefully takes your system to a whole new level. Small rooms, of course, I understand some of you guys live in cities where real estate and space is not really a priority. But let me just say to you guys that do not overlook this aspect, okay? If you're looking to move, guys, if you're looking to build a system, the room, guys, that's the first thing I'm going to go into. I'm not even going to care about the backyard. I'm not even going to care about the parking. I am going straight into the house and locate that room that I think is going to serve its purpose for what I need to do. So remember, room is number one. The next one is power. Once you've located the room, immediately, empty walls with nothing in your room. First thing you need to start thinking about is outlets. Where are the outlets going to go? In my room, I have 4 separate dedicated lines, 2 30 amps, 2 20 amp outlets. So these are crucial for what I do, to keep a lot of amplifiers running, to keep a lot of electronics turned on, to keep my home theater in place. I have to have a lot of outlets. It is important that you think about that. Once you have the room, the power it cannot be overlooked. Whatever outlets you may have in there, guys, they're just going to get you by. If you're going to do this right, I say hire an electrician, run 220 amp dedicated outlets, at least 2, and bring him close to where you're going to have your equipment. And I think that you'll be shocked how great of an investment that is once you have all your equipment inside. Once you have all your equipment inside, you'll be shocked at how good of an investment that was. Because let me tell you something, 2 15 amp outlets oftentimes are not enough. I highly recommend to do at least 20 amp outlets, 2 to 3. At least 2. 2 to 3 is what you need to do, and that will give you a very, very good starting point. 3, if you can swing it. Hire an electrician. Don't be afraid of doing that. Bring 3 dedicated outlets into your room. The next item is, and this is, I would call this step 1A, selecting your speaker. To me, guys, that is the most important step of building a system, selecting your speaker. This can either make you or break you when building a system. If you select the wrong speaker, you will fail. Regardless of how great the rest of your components are, it will fail. It will fall apart. Looking at your walls, understanding the challenges of your room, understanding the distance where the speakers may need to go from the back wall, from the side walls, understanding all the limitations, right, that your room will have, depending on what it is. If you're trying to do a family room, or if this is going to be in a living room, understanding the requirements from the speaker as far as the space around the speaker is key. I'm going to say it in layman's terms. Basically, think of it as to where the speakers would have to go in your room. When you look at it, you know more or less how far away they need to be. The most you can deal with, right? Before it becomes pretty ugly in the room. And then once you have located that area, begin to search speakers that would have no problem in that position. Okay, for instance, I'll tell you electrostatics, right? Electrostatics rely a lot on that wall behind. So it is important that they have room behind them. to spread the sound. You can't have electrostatics up against the wall. It will not work. They lose the sound stage. Everything collapses. So they need space behind them, more so than on the side walls. That's an example. You got other speakers that are rear ported. If you have them too close to the rear wall or the wall behind them, it will be very crucial to know that if you do not have enough breathing room for them, if the room behind them is too small, you're going to have a lot of booming sound. You're going to have a lot of boominess with the bass. It's not going to sound right. It's going to sound muddy. Again, the sound stage is going to collapse. The mid-range, the clarity, all of that is going to go away. So it is important, again, to look at the port design. Is it down firing? Is it front firing? Is it seal? That all plays a factor when selecting a speaker, and of course, the room in which they're going to be in. To me, the speaker is the one that needs to be, after you've selected the room, to me the speaker is really going to be the most important fact. The most important component out of everything else you're going to continue to buy is the speaker. You should pay the most attention to this. The speaker, one more time, the speaker, it is key, it is important. You will love or hate what you do next, okay? And it's all relying on that speaker that you're buying. Don't blame the electronics. The electronics could be world-class electronics, but if your speaker is poop, it will sound like poop no matter what you have connected to them. The next item should be your amplifier and preamplifier. That should be the next step. Selecting your main two components. Why is that important? Guys, I've always ventured into using different brands, right? I've always done mix and matching. I have gotten the better strengths of a particular brand. For instance, Audio Research line stages, right? I've matched those with Past Labs, which is a great combination. I've matched those with Griffin, great combination as well. But I know what I'm doing. For you guys who are just getting started, I recommend that you guys stick to a brand that you can hopefully buy the preamplifier and amplifier. The same family. For instance, Classe Audio, buy the amplifier and preamplifier. Sim Audio, buy the amplifier and the preamplifier. And if you ask me why, because that gives you a reference point. You understand at that moment what the manufacturer is trying to do. You're understanding exactly the intention, the tonality, the sonic, whatever you want to call it, of the sound signature. It's in full effect, essentially, right? So once you do that, then you have your baseline, your reference point. Then you begin to venture into perhaps a tube line stage, bring it in, plug it in, and then you can say, you know what, this got better or worse than what I was hearing with my other two components. That's the reason why I think it is important to stick to the same brand in the beginning stages of your system. It's very important, okay? Because that way you know if you're improving or you're not improving by changing components. The next item should be your source. In my situation, it has always been what? A DAC, okay? Very important that you select your source. This cannot be overlooked. At this point, this is the third component after the speakers that you're looking into. Since I do a lot of digital, some sources can be a standalone streaming / DAC, right? For instance, DCS does that, right? DCS does not need a music server, so it basically can be used as a standalone DAC / streamer, if you will. And it is important, if you're going to have a music server of some sort, then you know already where your music will reside. So then at that point, you have a little more flexibility buying a different DAC. For instance, Esoteric, right? You can buy an Esoteric, you can buy MSB, even though MSB, again, it works with just Roon. But there are other DACs that need some sort of a music server or a streamer. So with that said, this step is critical. It's critical because let's say your electronics, the amplifier and preamplifier you bought, hypothetically, they tend to be a little on the warm side. I'll give you an example. The old Classe Audio. I have not heard Classe Audio, the new one, but the old one was a little bit on the warmer side. Maybe it's when you look into a DAC that's a little more lively. For instance, you can look into a Core Dave.